Hello, welcome to the DraftKings Daily Trot. I'm Big Italy 42. He is Scott Malick at Sports 25 to Life. Talking about tonight's action on DraftKings, of course. And, we've got some interesting options at pitcher tonight. We'll start off with a guy that I really like, and I know you're on board with as well. He's really cheap. $7,200 Clay Buchholz. Quietly having himself a really good season over here. Actually, pretty similar numbers to Garrett Cole outside of the strikeout rate. 49.8% strike or ground ball rate. I wish that was a strikeout rate. 23% strikeout rate. Only a 6% walk rate. Keeping the ball in the park. .52 home runs per nine. I think no matter what I do, he's going to be one of my two cash game pitchers, and I love him in GPPs tonight as well. Yes, Boston is a powerful offense, but they also Baltimore, but they also strike out a ton, and I think the Buchholz is in a really good spot tonight.
Yeah, I mean, it's 7,200. I think he's a really solid cash game play also. I mean, a lot of these guys around him just aren't really great plays today. I think he's probably my favorite one in terms of safeties. One of the bigger favorites on the board. I want to say he's the third biggest. Is that right? I know
I believe so.
Garrett Cole's way up there near 200. And I think Jordan Zimmerman's the other one. He's the guy that I'm having a lot of trouble deciding what I want to do with today. His price is down to 7,800. He's facing an Atlanta team that doesn't score a ton of runs. They don't strike out a lot,
and no Freddie Freeman.
Yeah, that's a good point too. And I mean, the thing is, Zimmerman just hasn't been much of a strikeout guy this season anyway. I think his season high for strikeouts is the 8 he put up in the last game. Outside of that, he's been around 4, 5, 6 most of the time. So I like the price. I like the overall matchup. I don't love the strikeout potential with him, but I think he's a decent cash game play in that same range as Buchholz too.
Yeah, I'm with you there. I mean, he's one of those guys that, you and I have talked about it before. I hate to play him because I don't feel like he has a ton of upside, but I mean, matchups aren't going to get much better than an Atlanta team missing their best hitter. I mean, really the only consistent hitter on the team is Freddie Freeman. So, I think he's a fine option, certainly, but I don't know. I think a cash game play for me, like you said. So, a couple other guys to consider here. Ryan Vogelsong is a favorite, 6.5 run total. Gets Ian Kennedy on the other side, who's had his issues all season long, especially with left-handed bats. So 6,200, I like Vogelsong a lot. I think he's a fine cash game option as well, due to his price mostly. But coming off a really strong game at Seattle, only 3 hits, 6 2/3, 2 walks, 6 Ks. And, this San Diego offense, he's not going to do what Madison Bumgarner did to them last night. But, they're just so bad right now. I don't mind targeting with any decent pitchers right now, to be honest.
Yeah, I feel the same way. At 6,200, that just feels like a steal. He's a small favorite. Vogelsong's been a lot better than you would think for most of the season. He's got a lot of 20-point games on DraftKings out there. I think he's probably a really strong cash game play. It has some nice upside, too. We've seen him put up some decent strikeout games this season of 5, 6, 7. He's gone fairly deep into some of these games. He's pitching 6 2/3, 7 innings most of the time. So he's a really strong play at that price point for me. The guy I'll be looking at a ton. The other guy that's right in that same price range, Jimmy Nelson at 6,100 against the Mets, is probably my favorite GPP play in that range. He's been a bigger strikeout guy than most of these other guys on the slate this season, up over 20% decently. Has quite a few, what I would consider big games on the season as far as his price range goes. We've seen him go 7 innings with 8, 9, 10 strikeouts a couple times. I think he has some nice upside in this one against a Mets team that really hasn't been hitting anyone really well. They've been striking out a decent amount. The wind's blowing in today, assuming the roof is open, so that'll be a nice bonus also.
Yeah, and if you see the casual gamer looking at game logs, they're going to see Jimmy Nelson. They're just going to pass, so his ownership should be nice and low as well. Like I said, great matchup for him. And I'm going to throw out Mike Leake, $6,800. Had some success against the Pirates. Not a big strikeout guy. Did have 7 in his last game against Miami. But, dating back to last season, he's had a pretty decent amount of success against these Pirates. And, he's a guy who you're pretty much paying for him to go deep. He's not a guy that often gives up a lot of hits. He's had a couple of games there in that little stretch about a month ago where he was bad. But over his last 5 starts, 3 hits, 10 hits, 5 hits, 2 hits. Or I'm sorry, that's 4 starts. But either way, he's an effective pitcher that generally pitches deep in the game. He keeps the ball on the ground. He's tough on righties. So probably more of a secondary cash game option. due to all those factors. But I don't think he's a bad tournament option because he is opposing the guy who's going to be the most popular pitcher on the night in Garrett Cole.
Yeah, we haven't talked a ton about Cole yet. Like you said, he's probably going to be the most popular pitcher on the night. He's really the only ace on the slate. I don't really consider Garcia for St. Louis an ace.
No.
And he's a much, much smaller favorite. I mean, Cole's the biggest favorite on the board at minus 190. You mentioned before the show, he struggled a little bit with the Reds, so that's a little bit concerning, but I expect him to be 50, 60% owned in cash games. And he's definitely a high upside play. I mean, he's got the most strikeout potential on the slate by far. It's not really even close.
Yep.
So great GPP play outside of the ownership percentage. Awesome cash game play. I mean, there's some concerns there with Cincinnati hitting a little bit better lately. They've hit Cole decently in the past, but I think there's no reason for him not to be the highest owned pitcher tonight.
Yeah. I mean, it's really hard to argue that. He certainly will be. So, with that being said, we'll go ahead and move on here to catcher. I really like Buster Posey against Ian Kennedy at $3,900. Fly ball pitcher, struggles with giving up home runs. And Posey's got a nice price tag tonight as well. Of course, you're looking at guys like Nick Hundley. If Wellington Castillo's back in the lineup, he's 3,400. He homered last night, of course. And then looking for a couple other guys. I really like Jonathan Lucroy also at 3,600 against Bartolo Colon. Colon, as we know, contact pitcher, doesn't strike out a ton of batters, but he never walks anyone. So that's not necessarily a good recipe for success in Miller Park against some of these bats who have been cold, but they all have potential to have a big game, and I wouldn't be surprised to see this be one of them.
Yeah, the only guy that I really like at catcher that you didn't mention is Miguel Montero against Bolsinger. I think he's a fine play. He's been a little bit cold lately, and he was a little bit banged up, but he's been in the lineup, I think, 2 of the last 3 days now. Got a day off in the middle there, but I believe he has a 3-game hit streak going on in the games he's played. He's a fine play in GPPs and cash games at 3,600.
Yep, and I'll throw out one more tournament option. Josh Fegley has 3 homers in his last 6 games. Gets Wandy Rodriguez tonight. You hate the lineup spot, but I'm talking tournament here, so it really doesn't matter where it comes from. I think he's a big upside type of play tonight. First base, Paul Goldschmidt is up to $6,600 tonight. So,
yep.
I mean, good luck fitting him into your lineup tonight. You're going to want to, especially in your GPPs. I don't see any way you really fit him in cash games unless you're going with some cheaper guys. But, I mean, get creative with it. Try to get yourself some Paul Goldschmidt. I think he'll be lower owned than he was last night, despite it being a really good matchup, because he didn't have a great game. I mean, as far as normal baseball, 1 for 4 with a walk isn't a bad game. But for a guy that's costing you, 99% of your salary, you want some more. So I think he's a great option. Another guy that I'm going to mention here, Lucas Duda against Jimmy Nelson. If you're not playing him, $4,400 gets Miller Park tonight. And then Anthony Rizzo, once again, picking on Mike Bolsinger. Got to love him at home tonight.
Yeah, I also like Prince Fielder against Kendall Graveman. I think he's a fine GPP play at 4,800 if he can't get to Goldschmidt. Has some nice upside there in Texas. The only other guy I'd really look at is Ben Paulson, still 3,400. I mean, he's just been rock solid against righties. So as long as he's facing a righty and is at 3,400, I'm going to have a hard time arguing with him. I think he went 0 for 4 in the 5 spot last night, but prior to that, he reached base in 7 straight games. So, I mean, he's been solid. He's not Justin Morneau, but he also costs $1,400 less than what Justin Morneau would probably cost today. So I feel pretty good about him as a GPP play. You can also use him in the outfield, so he's pretty versatile too.
Yeah, I'll throw out one more guy, first base outfield eligibility. I prefer him in the outfield. Mark Trumbo, $3,900 against lefty Denny Duffy. We know he mashes southpaws, so I think he's a great tournament option tonight as well. Second base, gotta like Ben Zobrist against Wandy Rodriguez. Homered, had a nice game last night. He's certainly in play. Dustin Pedroia against Bud Norris at 4,100. And then your chalky plays of the night, assuming they're both in the lineup, I'm sure LeMahieu will be. $4,000 for him. Aaron Hill, $3,900 if he's in the lineup. Both those guys, that's your Coors exposure in the middle infield.
Yeah, I mean, that's probably where, especially second base today, there's not very much I like at second base. So I'm going to be looking at those two guys quite a bit. I don't mind Ben Zobrist sitting from the right side of the plate, but at 4,700, he's more of a GPP play. I can't pay that in cash games when you can get LeMahieu for 4,000, Owings for 4,000. Colton Wong is only 3,700 against the righty. I think he's a fine cash game play too. But I'll be looking at Zobrist and GPPs. Not a ton else I really like it at second base today.
No, there's one guy that has second base shortstop eligibility. I'll just go ahead and throw out there now. Wilmer Flores at Miller Park against Jimmy Nelson. if you're chasing
Yep.
power.
Yeah, let's talk some shortstop then while we segue into that with that.
Okay.
I like Tulowitzki again. I think he's probably the top play, 4,600 only. Had a fine night last night. I think he went 2 for 4 with a run and an RBI. Feels like you're going to get that out of him most nights against weak pitchers like this. So I think he's the obvious play there. Marcus Semien, I think 3,900. Is that right? Yeah, 3,900 against a lefty. I think he's a pretty solid play. Probably going to hit second in the order again. That's probably my cheaper play there. There's not a ton I like at shortstop. You mentioned Flores already. That's probably one of the cheap guys I'll look at. Outside of that, I mean, if Willie Bloomquist is hitting high in the order against a lefty again for Seattle, you can use him. He's at bare minimum on DraftKings at 2,000 with shortstop, third base eligibility. That's probably the other cheap guy I would look at.
Yeah, I like that. And I'll throw out one more cheap guy. Aiden Hechavarria hits lefties pretty well. Gets Jaime Garcia tonight, and he's actually led off a few times against lefties. So if he gets that nice lineup spot, usually hits eighth. Either way, I think he's a nice tournament option for tonight. We'll move to third base now. Obviously, Nolan Arenado, 2 homers last night. He's going to be your most popular play tonight for good reason. Also, he's at $4,700. So give him a look, of course, in your tournaments. Don't be shut out as the one guy that doesn't have any Nolan Arenado exposure. You want to have that. Todd Frazier is a nice contrarian play against Garrett Cole. We know he has more power against lefties, but obviously Cole's going to be popular. Anytime you get a power hitter against a popular pitcher, good way to set yourself apart in GPPs. And Adrian Beltre is a guy just came back, had a decent game last night, went 1 for 4 with an RBI. Going to be low owned because he's fresh off of the DL. That's usually a good way to get some exposure, guys. He's not cheap, but he should be really low owned tonight as well.
Yeah, definitely. I did not have to eat my words on Jake Lamb last night, which was wonderful because I think he went 1 for 4 with nothing else. I mean, he's just not a guy I feel good paying 4,100 for. I mean, again, I like Joey Gallo a little bit more than him for 400 less at 3,700 against Graveman in Texas. I think that's a solid play. Chris Bryant, I think, is a great play at 4,800 against Bolsinger tonight. There's just a lot of other ways I'd rather spend $4,100 at third base. So I'm probably going to avoid that again. Anthony Rendon is another guy at 3,900 still. I think he's too cheap. He's both a second base and third base option for me. I forgot about him at second base, but he looked pretty good last night. I played him a ton last night. He had 4 hits and an RBI. And he was 3,700 last night. He bumped up a little bit, but I think he's going to be a pretty solid cash game play at either of those positions again. Not facing a lefty tonight, but not a tough righty tonight either in Miller for Atlanta.
Yeah, that's a good point. I got one more cheap guy for you, third base shortstop, Hernan Perez. If he's in the lineup, he's got an extra base hit 4 of his last 5 games. Doesn't have any power, but I mean, we're talking doubles here. Double, score, run, easily paying off 2,200 if you just need to punt the position and get yourself some salary for elsewhere.
Yep.
Outfield, gotta love Giancarlo Stanton against a lefty. Doesn't really matter where it is. $5,200 for him against Garcia. Of course, AJ Pollock, he homered again last night. $5,300. He's a great play. And then Nelson Cruz gets the lefty as well. 2 of the best hitters, actually, I think the 2 best hitters in the game against lefties outside of maybe Josh Donaldson. He gets Danny Duffy at home at $4,700 as well.
Yeah, I think those are the top options for me. I don't mind Ryan Braun at 4,400 against Cologne. I think he's a pretty strong play there. We mentioned Ben Paulson already. I think is a great outfield play, probably more so than first base play. I don't mind Denard Span today. He's a little pricey on DraftKings at 4,400, but facing another righty that I think he can hit just fine. One guy that I really like today is Lorenzo Cain, who was red hot and then cooled off for a couple games, but he's facing a lefty in Elias today that he should have a really nice game against. He's been crushing lefties all season, basically. So he's going to be a guy in a lot of my cash game lineups tonight.
Yeah, that's a really good call. I'll throw out one guy. If he's in the lineup for some reason, he's really cheap. Rafael Yanoa is $2,100. You don't anticipate that he will be, but keep that in mind because he's a really cheap guy. Like last night, Danny Dorn got in the lineup. He was $2K. You had to play him at first base you don't like, but that's a cheap way to get yourself some Coors exposure. Some other cheap guys, Chris Parmelee had a double and a triple last night. If you're not playing Buckholes, he's been tearing the cover off the ball since he came up. He's 3,100. He's a fine play. And then outside of that, I mean, like I said, Ben Paulson right around that price, a great play. And yeah, that's about it for me there. There's nobody I'm really loving right around that range again.
Yeah, a guy I mentioned yesterday, Kelly Johnson, ended up hitting ninth last night, but against a righty again tonight, he might be back in that third spot that he hit 5 games in a row in. If he's hitting third at 2,700, I think he's a fine play even against Zimmerman. There's not a lot of cheap guys today, so he's going to be a guy I'm looking at. Will Venable, 3,300, a lefty against Vogelsong is a fine play. All these San Francisco top of the order hitters are always cheap, but it's because none of them have power. Gregor Blanco's 2,800 against Kennedy. Angel Pagan is 3,300 against Kennedy. Justin Maxwell has some power, but he's been hitting so low in the order. I think he hit 8th the last 3 or 4 games again, but he's only 2,600, and I expect him to be in the lineup again today. So any of those guys are okay, but the first two feel more like cash game plays, and Maxwell's a GPP play that really just sits too low in the lineup to get really excited about.
Yeah, that's true. I'll throw out one more guy, Jason Hayward. 6 straight games with double-digit points. He's 3,700. Got went down $1,000 after homering for the second straight game. So
Yep.
looking for your discount right there. That's a good way to go. And that's going to wrap things up. Find us on Twitter at DF Cafe. Subscribe to our YouTube channel. Check out our cheat sheets, our projections, optimizer, all of our great content at dailyfantasycafe.com.